Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazon Dion.
Hey everybody, this is Lunell, the original bad girl of comedy. I'm here at the Link Promenade in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and you're watching the Film Review.
This is Crazy D TV. I'm standing here with Nina Turner. Now the first thing I want to start with, like I was telling you off the tape, I remember you first being my concert person.
Yes.
Okay. Then what happened was I turned on the public access, and I saw you at Tracey teaching a Black History class.
Sir.
And I tuned in. I can't remember what day it was. I want to say it was a Tuesday.
It was
I tuned
Tuesday,
in
Thursday.
every Tuesday to watch Nina Turner talk about, and I learned so much. I learned about the nadir,
Yes.
the low point when they stripped everything from us.
Absolutely.
After pretty much
After
was 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was 100 years from 1865
Right.
to 1965.
Amen.
Right. So I mean, you're invaluable as far as your knowledge is concerned, and I'm really speechless. I have questions, but I want you to tell people what you do. Everything from Tracey,
Yes.
professor to the Senate
Thank
in
you.
Ohio.
Well, thank you, and I want to thank Dee so much. It is my honor to be a public servant. I started off as the councilwoman of this ward, Ward 1, the Lee Harvard area, and I've been so honored and blessed, and God increased my territory. So now I'm a state senator representing the 25th Senate District, which encompasses about 15 cities, including the city of Cleveland and the inner ring suburbs. So I am so blessed and so excited to be a public servant. I'm also a college professor, as Dee said, and that is my first love, to be able to impart knowledge. I teach African American history, urban studies, and even though I'm a historian, they let me dabble in a little politics every now and then, so I teach a few political science class. But I think the gift of teaching is the best gift that we can have. Each one teach one. We should be able to impart knowledge and strengthen people. You know the saying that talks about you can give a man a fish or you can teach them how to fish. I believe in teaching folks how to do for themselves.
Okay. I was talking to your father before we did this interview, and I was asking him, I know you're really well familiar with the talented 10th.
Oh, most definitely. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois.
Right.
Yes.
Do you think in the political climate and the social climate today that still stands, because he was really writing that to a white audience?
Yes.
When you read the piece?
Yes.
And he was trying to show that the black man, he was speaking on men, but it really encompassed women.
Right.
That the black man and woman were human, and through education we could prove our worth.
Yes.
Does that segregation that he spoke of, the infection and the group of people who would destroy the black community versus the talented tip, does that still stand relevant today?
I think in a lot of ways, and I think what Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois was really saying is that those of us who God has gifted in a certain way, we have a moral and fiduciary obligation to give back to our people. And so he was trying to lift up. Some folks thought he was an elitist, and maybe he was in a way, but he wanted to use those gifts, and he was saying to the people like himself, like the Thurgood Marshalls of the world, even though Thurgood Marshall was not born at that time, but he was saying to his contemporaries who were educated and gifted that you are not necessarily better than your other brothers and sisters, but you are gifted, and who God has chosen and called, you have a greater responsibility to serve. So I think that call to service is still there for the people that God has blessed. And you know, our education rates, our dropout rates among African American males is abysmal in the 21st century. So yes, what Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about in the early 19th century is still very much germane to the 21st century.
And then Booker T was really his
nemesis, his opposite. But it was the yin to his yang.
Right.
Because you've got to remember now, Booker T. Washington was a slave. And so, but he understood how to navigate the halls of power. And so what he said is that he said to white people of that time, he said black people and white people can be like one hand, 5 fingers, separate in all things that's social. But when it comes to the movement of this nation, we can be together. He was not a sellout by any stretch of the imagination. We got the Tuskegee Institute because of this man's brilliance. He understood how to work with the white people of his time. And it was the complement of Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington that made the whole. Booker T. Washington talked about learning a trade, understanding, but it was because we were off the heels of slavery.
And trade schools are here today because of his spirit.
Legacy. That's right. It was just that because of the time, some people were against that because we were just really evolving from slavery. So you can understand that we have been servants for a very long time. And Dr. W.B. Du Bois was saying, no, we are highly educated, and so we can do the thinking men's and women's jobs.
And then Marcus Garvey coming from the
United Negro Improvement,
right, and Back to Africa movement.
Yes.
Now, when you find out that Liberia is where Firestone gets most of their rubber, if we had followed his model, we would have been economically moving in this country.
Well, you know, we colonized Liberia, the United States of America. I will say this, you know, Mayor White, and I had an opportunity to work for Mayor White, and so did Terry Hamilton Brown, our next county executive, who will be interviewed by Dee here in a little bit. But he gave a speech in front of the SCLC before he left office, and he said, we as African Americans now have to move from civil rights to silver rights. So the next movement of this for our people and other poor people is that of economics. How to be economically viable, how to be able to take care of your family, how to do more than survive, but to thrive. And I think that has no color. This is a class thing where we know disproportionately African Americans are impacted, but we got poor black, brown, and white brothers and sisters too, and they need to be lifted as well.
Right, which is Martin Luther King's. All this is one long chain.
Continuum. Yes.
Are we ready? This is my last question.
Okay.
Because we're going deep. But I love speaking to someone who has it, or who has studied all of this.
Thank you.
Are we ready, or should I say America as a whole? Is America ready to see African Americans on that global scale? And let me preface this question by this. When you try to search out things on the internet is still divided. Like if you try to find something in Africa, you can't find those connections, or if there's someone in Japan, if you try to use that email address, it's automatically cut off from you. So are they ready for us to do this, or is it that they want us to stay in this place landlocked, so to speak?
I don't necessarily think it's us against them. I believe that we are in this together. Now, do you have people who may be racist or discriminate? That's that's all ethnicities. But the order of the day, we may not, and I say this a lot when I go out and I tell people, we may not have been on the same boat when we all got here. Your family, your ancestors may have come through Ellis Island mines may have come on shackles and chains. However you got here, though, we are in this together. And so we need people, we're in the same boat now. We need people who want to build bridges and not walls. And that doesn't mean that we don't tell the truth about the disproportionality of African Americans suffering, or women, but there are poor people, and we need, Dr. King, when the Poor People's Movement, and poverty has no color.
That's the one that got him in trouble.
Got him in trouble.
With President Johnson.
So we got to come together. So I really advocate. I just want to close with this. My grandmother, who only had a third grade education, she talked a lot, and she was a proud woman. Third grade education, but she didn't begrudge the fact that she was born in 1914. But she told her 7 grandchildren, I want you to be the best. And if you can't be the best, I want you to be next to the best. I want you to be so close to the best that nobody can tell the difference. I think that is a universal message. We need people with good consciousness to come together to do what's right on behalf of people. We are in this together.
So grandmother should become a little bit older. Before, so grandma's
well, you see, that's a whole nother interview, right? But I am so proud. I'm proud to serve, Dee, and thank you so much for this opportunity to interview. I want to send a shout out to the 25th Senate District, which is a mixed district, racially, ethnically, and gender-wise. I love my district. I love the city of Cleveland, and I love this state and this nation. And together, we're gonna rise.
And I want to thank Nina Turner. This is a real honor.
Thank you, Dee. The honor is all mine.
Since I've been watching you progress and rise. I might see the president maybe.
I got people whispering that in my ear, but I think President Obama doing a fine job.
Not now. I'm talking about after his eight.
Well,
we need 16 years of Democrat.
Thank you, Dee, for believing in me like that. Thank you
so
much.
The Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazon Dion.
Hey everybody, this is Lunell, the original bad girl of comedy. I'm here at the Link Promenade in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and you're watching the film review.